Okay, as the Band-Aid comes off, the truth comes out. I want to wish everybody Shavua Tov, Motzi Shabbat, from the hills north of Jerusalem, which we call Samaria. This is the 9th of January, also the 28th of Tevet, in God's year of 5776. Now, I am going to read an article here and go through it, of course, with my Street Jew commentary. But you can see there, Israel's indictment in Duma Arson creates defiance among rogue settlers. I saw this article in the Jerusalem Post. There, you can see on the bottom. But it's really, it says it's from Reuters, and there's no credit given to anyone writing it. So I would imagine, the powers that be in England, Rothschild family, and their minions, of course, came out with this as a telegraph to the to the Jewish establishment here, and giving them a warning. So okay, so the article you read, you saw the headline there: Israel's indictment in Duma Arson creates defiance among rogue settlers. So now they're trying to. Reuters and the powers that be in England are trying to say, warning to the Jewish establishment in Israel, warning. Okay, critics say the Duma murders marked an escalation from vandalism and assaults previously attributed to the militants and were inevitable given Israel's murky policy policing of citizens in the settlements. So right there they're saying, hey, you guys aren't, you live in a police state here in Israel, but it's not, literally, kicking in door to door a police state yet, martial law version, which I'm sure will come down the road, of course. Okay, so it's basically, the article's written in Yeshuv Hadat, and you can Google that on Google Maps. You can look at Yeshuv Hadat. So they're vilifying this area. I've done some videos last week about the Shiloh region. They are vilifying this area of Shiloh. They're freaking out that we're expanding into God's given land for the Jews, and Shiloh in particular among one of the areas they really can't stand. And why the establishment really can't stand Shiloh is because the Mishkan was there. So they have a real big issue because they do real little research on the Mishkan before the temples were made in Jerusalem. When we came in from on our journey from Egypt after 40 years, and we had this structure that we carried around with us where we worshipped and God's presence was, that structure was put in Shiloh. Okay, and anyone who's welcome to come here, I'll be happily take you there. As long as I vet you, I know who you are. Okay, so Yeshuv Hadat, the caves around this windy settled outpost, whose Hebrew name is Of Sound Mind, has served as a place of meditation and prayer, and according to Israel, a staging ground. According to Israel, according to what Israel talks, according to Israel, it's ridiculous. A staging ground for the worst Jewish militant attack on Palestinians in years. It doesn't even say alleged attack. This stuff is really, I really wish some attorneys would jump on this stuff and really go after these people, because the attack it's an alleged, the attack occurred, yes, of course. Imagine that the attack occurred. And, dead baby and dead parents. But, they're saying a Jewish militant attack, that is alleged. That's what I'm talking about being alleged. Innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. For everybody. It was from Yeshuv Hadat. Prosecutors say that the 21-year-old Amiran Ben Uliel set out on a moonlit night to firebomb a house in a nearby Sumerian village. They, of course, use that other word, but I'll say Sumerian village of Duma. And you can see that that Yeshuv Hadat and Duma are very close to each other, if you look on the map. And they said here that, of course, in that moonlit night, it killed the baby and the parents. Ben Uliel's indictment for murder on Sunday met with denial and defiance from other members of the so-called Hilltop Youth. Now, I was there. I actually drove some of the boys there and drove some of them back. A new generation of ultra-religious settlers whose resentment of the secular Israeli state rivals their hostility toward Arabs. That is so untrue. It's ridiculous. We ultra-religious settlers. What is ultra-religious, folks? Observing the Bible and the Ten Commandments, and then the 613 mitzvot that we can do. A lot of them we can't even do because we don't have the temple. But observing God's laws, this is ultra-religious. It's observant. That's what it is, observant. Okay? And they're not as hostile towards the state as they are towards Arabs. Not that they're hostile to individual Arabs, but, there is a thing called Ger Toshav, and we've gotten into this in other videos, okay? These are the people that can live in Israel. Noahites, Ger Toshav, and Jews. I don't think Jews did it. And even if they did do it, you need to look at why. The Israel police and government really fight them in every way, said Raphael Morris, a 20-year-old friend of Ben Uliel's from the neighboring settlement enclave. I don't know this boy, Raphael. Maybe I've seen him, but I don't know him specifically. Steeped in Messianic Jewish mysticism. Now listen to that one. Steeped in Messianic Jewish mysticism. Now, if anyone uses the term Messianic Jew, what does that mean? That means, Jews for, the savior of the Christians. That's what Messianic Jew means. So now they're using this title in another way, steeped in Messianic Jewish mysticism, and rebelling against what they see as an adulterated modern Zionism. The Hilltop Youth number in the hundreds. Baruch Hashem. I wish it's in the hundreds. By most accounts. And they pose a deep-rooted challenge, even for the nationalist government of... The nationalist government of Netanyahu? Oof. He's not nationalist, folks. He's a globalist minion who do anything for the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and anyone else who pulls his strings. He's not. He's not for us. Doesn't even wear a yarmulke. I mean, come on. Let's get real. Okay. As Netanyahu government struggles to stanch, I like that word, Israeli-Palestinian bloodshed in the absence of peace negotiations. There were peace negotiations done, several times, and the Arabs refuse, and thank God they do, because Palestine, for right now, for all intents and purposes, until Mashiach comes, Palestine right now is Jordan. Even though Jordan is our land, that's 77% of the British mandate. 77% of the British mandate is what we call Transjordan or Jordan. So, they can live and be well there. Israel is only 23%. 23% of that landmass. Okay? And the Sinai's for another talk for another day. Okay. So security officials say that Ben Uliel is among the few dozen hardcore militants. Many of them school dropouts are estranged from their families, so they're already, vilifying them. They're school dropouts because most of the modern schooling system, look up Charlotte Iserby and that area, the modern schooling system is a globally controlled through the UN agenda to dumb down the masses, and anyone who's a free thinker, is disparaged in this system and then, drugged. Basically, look at the rampant use of drugs. Even in this country, it's very sad how many children are on drugs because the school system is so dumbed down that anyone who's like a little bit of a shining light and a shining star, has to be muted through prescription drugs. Thank you, Teva. Okay, so security officials say, that these people also have eluded surveillance due to their secrecy and determination to clam up under police investigation. So they basically have to be tortured, right? And then, being tortured and sleep deprived, that, you can come up with some kind of a valid a valid reason to indict them. I find that extremely disturbing. The critics say the Duma murders, which marked an escalation from vandalism to assaults previously attributed to the militants, were inevitable given Israel at times murky policing of the citizens. They said that, of course, so they're going to repeat it again. That they want us literally, like they want us basically probably chipped or ankle braceleted. But they can track us through our phones. You have here. I have 2 phones, Shabak. You can we know you can track us through these. So here, track away, because everything I say in your face. Okay, critics say the murders, Duma murders, marked an escalation. They're saying it's inevitable, and all because of the murky policies, and all who deemed by the world powers as squatters on occupied Palestinian land. See, so okay, let's read that. All of whom are deemed by world powers, that's the globalists, okay? This handful of people who have propped themselves up through fraud of 100 different types of fraud, propped themselves up as world powers, okay? And then they're saying that we squat on land because ultimately this world power structure has got to come against the Jews. It's a globalist power structure. I always call it that, and I got to get to a video about this, but it's basically the Tower of Babel people, okay, that are now, have regenerated themselves because of the UN and their technocracy. They're able to speak with each other again. The 70 language barrier has been bridged. Okay. The inconsistency in the plain view is in the plain view of Yeshuv Hadat and other outposts erected in recent years by the Hilltop youth without state permission. What began as a rogue cluster of shacks is now often orderly trailer parks or shepherd hamlets with power lines, paved roads, bus stops, and Israeli army sentries. Yeah, that's right. We're going to take this land, all of it, absolutely. Every last bit of it is going to be ours. We're taking it all. Okay, so yeah, Yasha Koyach for the boys that get up on those hills, and then the hills turn into legitimate areas where families can live with caravans and hopefully, please God, with permanent houses at some point. Still, residents style these communities that dot the strategic highlands as a vanguard of a dreamed of Jewish theocracy where Gentiles would be expelled, putting paid to decades-old Israeli talk of making way for a Palestinian state. Yeah, there is no, like I just said before, that's Transjordan. If we wouldn't be here, the Arabs would be here, and whatever the Arabs get now will be very hard to take back, said Morris, who sports the U-Top's trademark shaggy beard, religious side curls, and a crocheted skull cap. Can you see? I guess you can't see. Crocheted. So I don't have side locks. Okay. Trial and error. I'm going to try to pump through this quick. We got 2 minutes to go. A 20-year-old son of British immigrants, Morris is married, father of 2. He works as a baker, having been exempted from the military draft due to ideological grounds. So that's a way, of course, to vilify these boys because, they don't serve in the military, so therefore, this is a big, no-no in our country here. Those people don't serve in the military, they must be traitors, But the problem with the military is, and we've seen it a lot, is they take away the religiosity of the people that join, and it's a shame. Now there are religious units, so I say yashikoyach to the military for providing these units, but there should be more of them. Okay, but the Duma arson and what Israel Shin Bet security service said were the manifestos circulated among the suspects, which call for an insurrection against the state, prompted the crackdown. Officials will hope now to rout Jewish militants. The experts see a rocky road ahead. Duma case is already beset by defense lawyers' allegations that Ben Uliel and a 17-year-old, which I know personally, were planning arson, and he didn't turn up in the cave rendezvous, and they were tortured to give false confessions. The article goes on, a little bit further, but I'm going to point out 2 people that are in the bottom of this article, which I'm getting to a video. Sara Yael Hirschhorn of Oxford University, okay, and Tomer Persico Okay, I'm going to put links to these people. They are basically minions of the left.